Stream, and we have a few minutes before we get started, but I just wanted to open it up. We'll watch the clock. As soon as that gets down to 0, then we'll go ahead and officially start the show. But I want to give some people time to come in, grab their coffee or grab their drink, and get ready for the show. So hope everyone's having a good day. It's a beautiful, sunny California day on Sunday. And right after this, I plan to go out and do some things, run some errands and things like that. Yeah, I hope everyone's having a good day. Please, as you guys come in the room, if you could hit that like button, I'd really appreciate it. It does help with the YouTube algorithm, and that will push this video out to more people so they can see that we're doing a live stream, and hopefully they'll come and join us. So yesterday's live stream, very, very, very successful. And I'm really happy about that. I love doing live streams. And my only apprehension, or the only reason that I kind of didn't do them for a while, is because I didn't know how it would affect the rest of my videos. And it's had a pretty positive effect. I mean, basically, my live streams are doing just as good as my regular videos. That's not always the case, but in this case, it is. And so I'm really happy about that. And that just encourages me to want to do more. So right now, the target is like 3 live streams a week, but with your help, I want to do even more. So that's the plan. And the best way that you can help me is just by hitting the like button. That's all you have to do. If you hit that like button, it will go ahead and promote it out to more people. The more people that see the live streams, the more live streams that I'm going to do. That's basically what that's the conclusion that I've come to. So I hope everyone is having a great day. And as you come in, hit the like button. Also, if you're new here, we do live streams on the weekends. We do daily video. We do a video a day, but then we do live streams on the weekends. So basically, Monday through Friday, you're going to see regular videos and maybe a live stream, depending. And then on the weekends, you're going to see a live stream for sure. Sometimes I will put out a regular video. Yesterday I didn't put out a regular video. Today I have some things to do, so I might be able to put out a regular video, but I can't guarantee that. There's a video that I've been working on, and I think I talked about it yesterday about the airline industry. So I want to do that. Now, when I say the airline industry, it's about the stimulus package, but how the airline industry ties into that and how that could potentially get us another stimulus package with stimulus checks and everything, because you have all these things that are just coming together at one time. So let me do some shout outs before we get started here, since we have people in the room. Thank you guys all for being here. And we can start from the top here. And if you guys are interested, we do have a membership program. So if you want to join the membership, you see some people, they have the green, their name is in green, and they have these little bronze coins. If you join the membership, then you get a coin. So that coin goes next to your name. Depending on how long you've been a member, your coin will change colors. So everyone's bronze right now because I just started it this month. But in the future, their little coin will change colors. And when it comes to what do you get with a membership, why would I want to become a member? Well, that's part of it. You're kind of exclusive. You have your different color, different badge, and then you also get little emojis, different emojis. And I'm going to start adding more to my emojis, but I have about 4 different emojis now that you can use. And then we also do exclusive stuff. So I'll have videos that are exclusive just to members, and I'll also do a live stream, at least 1 live stream a week, and that's for the top tier members. And so it's just going to be members. So members only. You're going to be the only ones that can be in on the live stream. So if you have questions or you just want to hang out, then that's the perfect place for it. So, and then I have one other exciting thing that I want to show you guys, and it'll be happening in like 3 minutes. So something I've been working on. You guys need to let me know. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think in 3 minutes. But yeah. So today's topic is going to be pretty much an open discussion, Q&A. So if you guys have questions, just put @TEC, and we'll talk about a variety of different things today. The main thing that I really wanted to focus on is just the $2.2 trillion. that Nancy Pelosi is asking for, and she's pretty much, she says she's not budging on that number, although she has budged in the past, so she's come down. She said she's not budging, so we'll start the show with that, where I'm just going to talk about that. What does that mean? She says she's not budging. Does that mean that all talks are off? Do you think that the Republicans will come up a little higher? So we'll talk about that, and then we'll go into the Q&A. So I really want to know what you got, how you guys feel about that, what you guys think as far as what do you think is going to happen with that, with the next stimulus package, if we can't come down off that number or go up from that number, or go up from 2 trillion or go up from 1 trillion or come down from 2 trillion. So we'll have a good discussion on that. Larry King, thank you for being here. DJ, thank you for being here. Miss Happy Apple, of course, thank you for all that you do. I really appreciate it. Let's see, who else is in the building? Too Cool, thank you for being here. And Gene, thank you for being here. Also, members do get shout outs. So those are the first people to get shout outs. I'll give other shout outs as well, but those are the ones that they get priority when it comes to questions and shout outs. So that's another reason why you would want to become a member, so you can get your questions answered and get a little shout out at the beginning of the show. I used to do shout outs for everyone in the room. However, I have a lot of people in the room now, so it would take probably 15, 20 minutes to do shout outs for everyone, unfortunately. But if you do have a question for me, I always give you a shout out with that. All right, let's see here. We're going to be getting started in about 30 seconds. So let me know that you guys can hear me, you can see me, all that. There are no issues or anything like that. Part of the reason why I like to start a little bit early is because I want to make sure that everything is working properly before I get going. And I've done this before, where I'm out there and I start talking, I'm doing all this, and then I look at the chat and people are saying, no sound, no sound. And it's like, okay, let me start that again. So I don't want to do that again. So that's the reason why we start a little bit early. So we are down to zeros. So we are ready to get started. All right, guys, here we go. What's going on, everybody? Thank you guys all for stopping by. And as you see, we have a new intro now. So hopefully that went smooth. I won't know until after, I'll check it after the video is over, or after the live stream is over. But I hope you guys enjoyed that. Now, it took me a little time to kind of put that together. That might not be the final intro. I might be working on some other stuff too. But I wanted to have an intro, and I want to have an outro, like at the end. I don't have that yet. That's something that I'll be working on. But also, let me know what you guys think about it. Like I said, it took me a little time to kind of put that together. Now, you saw there is a website. Now, I do not have the website up yet. I had the domain name. I'm going to start working on the website. So that's in the works right now. Once I can get that, I'm not really good with websites, so I'm probably going to have to find someone to do a website for me, get on Fiverr or something like that. But yeah, let me know. Okay, I can hear you. I can see you. It's funny. Anytime I glance over and I see here, I'm always focused on it, because it's like that is the biggest problem. All right, guys. So thank you guys all for being here on this beautiful Sunday. And the first thing we're going to talk about, or the real topic that we're going to talk about today, and I want your input, is the negotiations right now. And I talked about this yesterday as far as where we are with numbers, okay? And basically the Republican senators right now, they're looking, and let me show you guys the information here. So Republican senators, they are looking at $1 trillion. That's with the HEALS Act. Okay, now they have a skinny bill that they're talking about bringing out to the public, which they have not done yet. And if they bring that out, they're talking about it being about $500 billion. Okay, The Democrats, on the other hand, they're looking at about 2.2 trillion. That's Nancy Pelosi's is giving us those numbers, and she's saying that that's it. Like 2 trillion, we're not coming down off that. Now the White House is a little different. The White House is saying 1.3 trillion is that's their number. Now they've been higher before. The White House, or I won't say as a whole, but you've had some people in the White House that have put out a number that was closer to $2 trillion. So they've been around where the Democrats are in the past, but right now they're saying 1.3 trillion. We have to see if we can get them a little bit higher. So the Republican numbers, so the numbers in the middle, I'm going to take those out, and we're really going to talk about the White House numbers and the Democrats numbers. So we're going to talk about the 1.3 trillion and the 2.2 trillion. And the reason that we're going to do that is because when it comes down to it, the White House is doing all the negotiating, which I think is a problem. It's wrong. It shouldn't be that way. We should have the senators doing the negotiating. But nonetheless, the White House is doing the negotiations. So if they say 1.3 trillion, Mitch McConnell has already indicated that whatever's decided in the negotiation, this is how crazy it is, right? It's your job to negotiate, Mitch McConnell, as the leader of the Senate. It's his job to be on the negotiations. But he has just said, yep, you know what, White House, go ahead and take care of it. Whatever you decide, whatever you guys agree upon, I'll push it to the Senate, right? And so realistically, he's not doing anything. It's just like me saying, hey, getting somebody else to do my job for me, and I'm still getting paid. That's basically what he's saying. Whatever you come up with, I'll go ahead and sign off on it and take credit for it, basically. So that's where we are right now. The 1.3 trillion, 2.2 trillion, they're still far apart. We're still talking $900 billion, right? So it's not, by no means is it getting closer. The White House has already indicated, and this was a couple of weeks ago, Stephen Mnuchin said that they're willing to come up higher than $1 trillion. They didn't give an exact number, but they said they were willing to come up higher. So this isn't the first time that we've heard the higher than 1 trillion coming from the White House. But where do we go from here if Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats are saying we're not budging on 2.2 trillion? And that's pretty much what she's saying at this point. However, I think she would come down to 2 trillion if they would come up to 2 trillion. But that's what we're looking at right now. And the crazy thing about this whole situation is the Republicans, they're trying to go the opposite direction. Like the senators are trying to go the opposite direction, which is really crazy. That's I mean, instead of going up higher, they're like you're in a negotiation with someone and you guys are getting close to numbers, or I won't even say close, but you're closing in on numbers where at least I know where you are, you know where I am when it comes to numbers, and I'm at 1.3 trillion. And then you have some other people on your side that are saying, you know what, we're going to do 500 billion. It's pretty crazy, right? So we really have to kind of take the Republicans, the senators, out of this whole discussion and really just talk about the White House, because that's where the negotiations are happening. And what will happen if the Democrats don't come down? They don't come lower than 2 trillion, and the Republicans or the White House doesn't want to go up to 2 trillion. And I talked about this yesterday as well. Who do you think is going to get hurt the most? And I think the president, and I read when I'm doing a live stream, I can't look at all the comments or all the stuff in the chat, but I do watch the chat over. So I'll watch the live stream over again, and then I'll watch the chat just to see what people are saying. And the vast majority of people were saying, yeah, they think that the president will be hurt the most in this situation. And the blame goes everywhere. Like, I'm not saying that we should only blame the president. I'm just saying that if you are the leader of the country and the country's not running smooth, people are going to look at you. Just like if you work at an office and you have a manager and things are just chaotic in the office. Well, yeah, sure, people in the office, they should be taking responsibility for their actions. However, we still look at the leader, the person who's managing everyone, and at some point we have to say, yeah, you know what? They need to go. Not only do some of the people need to go that are working in that office, but the manager needs to go too, because they're not able to manage the whole situation. And so that's, I think the pressure is really on when it comes to the White House, because they're the ones that are going to have to come up. Nancy Pelosi realizes that she has a lot of leverage, especially in September with all the stuff that's going to be happening in September. She has a lot of leverage. And so if the president doesn't want a government shutdown, if the president doesn't want people to go without enhanced unemployment, and yes, I'm saying enhanced unemployment because it will expire in September. So the executive order that you heard that he signed last month, that will expire. That's going to expire in September, and they're not going to have any more money. And so we're going to have this whole discussion over again. And so these different things that are going to be playing out in September, the White House is now going to be pressured to really move those numbers up. And she realizes that. And that's why she's putting out there, okay, 2.2 trillion, I'm not budging on that. And so we'll have to see what the White House does and when they, agree to come up on those numbers. But that's where it is. And you can also see, I'm not going to call it desperation, but you could see who's really trying to get the other side in the room. And that's the White House. The White House is trying to get Nancy Pelosi in the room and start the negotiations again. They have that sense of urgency. They understand it's an election year. They understand that the president is running nationwide. He's not just running in a district. Nancy Pelosi's not in fear of losing her job as a congressperson. She might lose her speakership if the Republicans take over the House, which is unlikely at this point. But she's not going to lose her job. She has her seat is pretty set. Like, she's not going to lose that. However, the president running nationwide, there's a lot more that he can face some real issues, right? And so that's where we are. We see the White House really pushing to get them back in the room for negotiations and stuff like that. And she realizes that. It's just like, I always go back to buying a car, because I think a lot of us we've experienced that. And it's just like when you walk away from a deal, or you're walking away and you hear, and they're like, I have had this experience before. I go in, I'm going to buy a car, and we're working out the deal details and stuff. And it's just too much. Like, I can't, I'm not going to pay that much. And so I get up, I start walking away, and then they're running after you. Hey, no, come, let's talk. We'll try to figure something out, and we can figure out different ways. Now, if I really want that car, then I'll stop. I might even go back and sit down and listen to what they have to say. But they know that they know they want to sell that car. And so they don't want me to get out of there, because if I get out of there, I'll just go somewhere else. But so there's really an urgency on their part to get me back to the table, and because they want that commission. And so in this situation, you see the White House really trying to get the other side to the table so they can discuss what happens further. So they're probably open to going even higher than 1.3 trillion, but that's the number that they're throwing out right now. And then once they get things worked out, then they'll move forward. And the biggest problem that's going on in this situation right now is the fact that you have the White House on one side saying numbers, and then you have senators, and you have 15 to 20 senators Republican senators, they don't want another stimulus package. So now you have to rely on the Democrats in the Senate in order to get something passed. Because if you have, let's just say, we won't even say 20, we'll say 15. We'll say 15 senators that don't want another stimulus package at all. Well, that drops your numbers down to 85, and you need to get a majority, right? So you need that 51, at least 51, and filibuster. I don't think we're in a situation where we need a filibuster-proof vote, so we don't need 60 plus, but we do need, we definitely need 51 in order for it to be approved. And the reason I say I don't think we need a filibuster proof, I can't see anybody filibustering this. I really can't. I mean, it would be hard for anyone to justify that. And I think if that was a situation on either side, someone was standing up and saying that they're filibustering, it could, I mean, potentially what could happen is, let's say you get 51 votes or you have 51 votes. And so one of the senators that wasn't interested in doing a stimulus package at all, they say, you know what, I'm going to filibuster this. I'm going to go on the Senate floor and I'm just going to stall. At some point, and that's what they do. So he or she would just come on the Senate floor, and they would just stall. They would read out of a phone book. They would just do things just to continue, keep continuing this, so they can't vote. And then, of course, what do Congress people like to do? They like to go on recess. So they'll do it until the recess, and then they'll go on recess. They'll come back, then they'll continue with their filibustering. But anyway, I can't see anyone doing that. And if someone did do that, like if I'm saying like the senators that don't want a stimulus package, if they decided to do something like that, you're going to have so much pressure, so much pushback on them that it just wouldn't happen. So you need Democrats to support whatever this bill is that's coming through the Senate. And so the White House understands that, so they're going to have to really cater more towards what the Democrats are asking for. So that 2.2 trillion is probably going to be, we're going to see it in that neighborhood. 2.2 trillion, maybe 2 trillion, maybe 1.9 trillion. It's going to be somewhere in that neighborhood. So, and that's just the way that I'm looking at it right now. So let me know what you guys think about that whole situation. And let me know what you think about, the money. Where do you think it should be? Do you think it should be? I mean, because realistically, yes, the Democrats started at a high number. They were at 3.4 trillion or 3.3 trillion, something like that. And that was the HEROES Act. That's all the stuff that was in the HEROES Act. And then you had the Republicans come up with their proposal, and their proposal was $1 trillion. And so if you look at who's moving more, the Democrats are coming down a lot lower than the Republicans are moving up. So Democrats have come down to 2.2 trillion. Republicans have gone up to 1.3 trillion. So they've gone up $300 billion, whereas the Democrats have dropped $1 trillion, more than $1 trillion. So yeah, let me know what you think, what number you think is fair. I mean, we keep hearing the talk of meet in the middle, right? So meet at 2 trillion or around 2 trillion. But we'll have to see. Hello there. Thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate that. And if you guys leave me a super chat, ask me a question so I can, ask me a question or make a comment or something like that. Just because the main reason for the super chats is so if you have a lot of people in the room, you're able to answer those questions. So if you put a super chat in, then you can put a question in so people can answer those questions. Because if you have a lot of people, sometimes it gets lost in all the chat that's going on. All right, so guys, if you have a question for me, just put @TEC, and I will address those questions. And I'm moving up right now, so we're gonna work our way down. And one more thing too. We haven't done this in a long time, but I haven't changed my backdrop. So those are the colors, guys. Let me know which one you want me to do. I think I'm gonna change this over so I have the different numbers. I guess, let's see, red, green, blue. Just put yeah, because some of these colors I don't know what they are. The light blues, and I don't know. Just let me know what color you guys want, and we'll do. I think what I'll do is I'm going to number them, and I'll have like a little chart, and I'll just pull that chart up with the different number, and you guys just put a number in, whichever one that you want. Just put that number in, and we'll do that. All right, Carolyn, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a member. Thank you for joining the discussion. Mindy, thank you for being here. Let's see. We're going to move down and see some of the questions here. So if you have a question for me, just put at TEC or you can put at Travel Explore Click. Sam, hello from South Carolina. Hello. All right, just move on down. Grace, hi from Missouri. Beautiful Missouri. You know, there's a lot of places that I want to go. I have not traveled too much when it comes to the United States. I've been to Florida, Washington, D.C., upstate New York. I still haven't been down to in the city in New York. Where else? Nevada. That's it. In California, of course, I live here, but that's it. So I really need to get out and travel a little more. I mean, I've been to Texas, but that's not really. I can't. I won't even count that because it was just at the airport, so you can't count it. But as far as getting around, yeah, I need to get out and travel when it comes to the U.S. Now, outside of the country, yes, I travel a lot outside the country. That's my thing. I enjoy doing that. But when it comes to a lot of these different places, or people are saying, "Hey, from Missouri" and stuff like that, I've never been to Missouri, so I do need to get out a little more when it comes to the U.S. All right. So let's see. I swole no, one swole no, one swole no. Got it. So he's asking, what do I think Stephen Mnuchin's, who's referring to, will say during the testimony? I don't know. It's kind of weird. Mark Meadows is kind of taking over the whole negotiation. Like you don't hear very much of Steve Mnuchin anymore. So they've always said, or they've always in the last few months they've really been some senators and some Republicans have been pushing back on Stephen Mnuchin, thinking that Stephen Mnuchin is really this is how partisan we've gotten in this country. Like they're saying, well, they think that Stephen Mnuchin is working more for the Democrats to get more, I don't even know, like to get more stimulus. He's too soft is basically what they were saying, and they wanted something a little more hard nosed, or someone a little more hard nosed. They wanted to pull Vice President Pence in to do negotiations, which in reality wouldn't be a bad idea. If the president's not going to be there, then put the vice president in there, someone who represents the people. That would make more sense. But nonetheless, Stephen Mnuchin was in on the CARES Act. So he was in on the last stimulus checks that we got and the last stimulus package that we got. So he's been there before. They were able to negotiate that, and there was no issues when it came to that negotiation. People at that time, this is when COVID-19 was just starting out, and people were like, "What's going on?" Everything was getting shut down, and so the government had to act at that point. But right now, you don't hear much of. Yeah, I at least haven't heard too much from him the last couple of weeks, and so I don't know if that's a sign that maybe someone else will be stepping in to work with negotiations. I think with Stephen Mnuchin in there, it's better than if they're bringing someone else who, other than Mike Pence. I think if Mike Pence comes in, at least he's representing the people, so you bring him into the discussion. But if you just leave Mark Meadows in the discussion and then maybe bring in someone else who's not elected, it's probably going to be even worse than this situation. I think I would agree. I think Stephen Mnuchin really wants a deal and really knows the impact of not having another stimulus package go through. Whereas I think Mark Meadows, this is just from what I'm looking at, I think he's playing more the hard role, like, no, we're not doing this, or no, we're not doing that, and he's not too concerned with the economy, or at least he doesn't appear to be as concerned as Stephen Mnuchin, in my opinion. Okay. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen in the testimony. I will be there watching it. I will put out a video about it, but yeah, I don't. It's hard to tell, right? And a lot of these testimonies, it's just a way for politicians just to kind of grandstand and you know, it doesn't usually doesn't come to anything. Like you don't really see too much come out of these testimonies, other than the fact that people, you know, there's some good things you can put on TV, good clips you can show on TV where, you know, one side is arguing with the other side and trying to make, you know, trying to catch them up in different things and stuff like that. But usually, not very often do you get anything that's a really good substance. I will say that hearing with the IRS commissioner, that was a good one, because that's when we found out that the IRS is going to start sending out checks for dependents. And so that was like, that's good news, right? That's something that really came out of it that people wanted to hear, but you don't always get that stuff. All right. Let's see. That's a good question. And Grace is saying this, or making a statement here. Why don't they just reenact the CARES, like just create the CARES Act? Just, yeah, create the CARES Act over again. Exactly what was in the CARES Act, put it in this next bill and push it through. But make some changes. I mean, there were a few things in the CARES Act that would need to be changed, but another $2.2 trillion package. Why not do it that way? You agreed on it before. Why aren't you agreeing on it now? That would be the argument, right? So that would make sense. That's actually a good point. Let's see. All right. Grace just put at TEC. But I guess you wanted me to read the question. I don't know. Let's see. No day off Sunday. That is true. Not everyone has the day off on Sunday. I apologize for saying it like that. Some people do have Sunday off. Not everyone does. So I appreciate your hard work. And let's see here. All right. Questions for me, just put at TEC. And also, if you guys can do me a favor, hit the like button so we can bring some more people in the room. If we can get, usually what I've seen is if we get over 1,000 likes, we have more than 1,000 people in the room. It's kind of weird. Like look at the likes now. We have 630 likes and we have about 651 people in the room. So I don't know how YouTube works, but maybe if you hit a like, then they, you know, push it out to more people. I know they push it out to more people, but they kind of match up. It's kind of weird. But anyway, if you guys can do that, I'd really appreciate it. Hit the like button. And also it will help the algorithm after the video has been aired. Then they can watch it on the rebroadcast. Okay. So any questions, just put them in the chat. And so Melissa's asking about pork. How much pork do you think is left in the Dems package? All right, you know what? Let's talk about pork and the reason that there's pork and what is pork, because pork is different things for different people. Okay, and basically the way that it generally used to work or still works is you have a variety of different politicians who are representing different districts, and some of those politicians want to bring, or all of them, they want to bring home the bacon is what they call it. And so that's what the pork is. So there are different little projects that they want to bring back to their district so they can show their district, hey, look, we built this bridge, or look, we brought this this company to our city or our district. And so that's what pork is. And you have to understand that pork is helping someone. Like it's helping someone. And some people might look at certain things where you think, oh, that's not pork, as pork. And let me give you an example. Stimulus checks. Some people might look, or I won't say some people might, some people are looking at stimulus checks as not being necessary in a stimulus package. They're looking at it that way. They're saying, why should we give out money to individuals? They can get enhanced unemployment if they're unemployed, and we shouldn't be giving out any money to stimulate the economy. You have 15 to 20 senators right now that are wondering why we're sending out money, right? And so they look at that as just extra added money or pork, right? Bringing home money to, so politicians can say, hey, look what I did for you. I gave you a $1,200 stimulus check. Vote for me, right? Some politicians are looking at that and saying that is pork. All right. They might not use the word pork, but that's the way they're looking at it. Just like when they look at some of the other things that are in bills, the FBI building. Yes, the FBI building will benefit certain people, right? Is it necessary right now during, in a stimulus package? Does it have anything to do with stimulus? No. But it will benefit some people, especially people who work for the FBI or people. We all use or I won't say use the FBI, but we all benefit from what the FBI does for the country, right? As far as keeping it safe and things like that. If they have a new facility, they'll have more, things to keep us safe and better abilities to keep us safe, and they can, improve their training, all that stuff, right? So there's arguments all around, but what I'm saying is that's considered pork, or you have other pet projects that people have been working on for years and years, and that could be considered pork. Now, some of this stuff, yeah, it's off the wall ridiculous, and we get it, right? But those are the things that, yes, they come into a negotiation with those things, and a lot of those things are left on the table. And so the argument about the marijuana research for banks and whatever, that stuff is probably not going to be in another stimulus package, right? Because you're going to have people negotiating that out. But when it comes down to it, we really have to be careful when we're talking about pork, because just because you consider something a necessity, someone else might look at it and say, no, you know what, that's pork. We don't need that. And so, yeah, just just think of it along those lines, because, we're in a situation where not everyone right now in the Senate wants another stimulus package. And so some of the ways where you kind of pull them in is by giving them a little bit of stuff that they might be interested in, interested in hearing. So just think of it along those lines. I'm sure there's going to be stuff in there that people aren't going to agree with. They're going to question, well, why is this in here? But for the most part, I think, and in most bills, you'll see that when stuff comes up and the politicians see that the community is upset, like the people are upset, a lot of times they'll take that stuff out. Just like the FBI's funding. Mitch McConnell didn't even know it was in there. And when he found out that it was in there and then saw that, the response by the public, then he was like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, that's not going to be in there anymore. And so even though this is the HEALS Act was his bill, which obviously he didn't write, or he didn't, let's just say he didn't write it. I was going to say, because there's no other excuse. Like if you wrote a bill, you're going to know what's in that bill. And he did not know that the FBI funding was in the bill until a reporter said, I don't think that's in there, is it? And his aide had to tell him, yeah, it's in there. And so anyway, so when it comes down to it, yes, you can say, I wonder how much pork is in there, but just understand pork means different things to different people. If it was something coming to your city, a good example is, let's say your congressperson was able to get a contract with a major, let's just say Disneyland. Let's say Disneyland was going to have another they were going to have another Disneyland somewhere else, right? And it happened to fall in your city, and your congressperson was able to pull that deal in. Well, that could help your city, your district immensely. I mean, it could. Disneyland has really improved Anaheim and the businesses around Anaheim. So if let's say you have a little small mom and pop, and they're going to put a Disneyland in your district, in your city, where you have this grocery store or a restaurant or what have you, that could help you immensely. But it's not going to help everyone, but it'll help you. And so some people might look at, well, why are they sending this funding to help out with getting, another Disneyland? I don't even want a Disneyland. It's not even in my, city, district, whatever. So that could be considered pork. So there's so many different things that could be considered pork. So we'll have to see what comes out. We'll know what they're voting on. Once they approve once they negotiate and they approve this next bill, we're going to know what's in it. And we're going to be able to get in there and find out exactly where the money's going. And then at that point, that's when you can voice your opinion, and I'm sure people will. And you're going to have politicians that are going to say, no, I'm not going to vote for it because it has this in there. I'm not going to vote because we're not even. This is the problem with this whole negotiation, the whole negotiation process. We don't have legislators on both sides, and so the Democrats might be thinking, okay, yeah, you know what, I can get support for this. So Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, they can be looking at it and say, I can get support for this. I know I can. They can always go to their colleagues and say, hey, this is what we're talking about, or do you guys support this? But when it comes to the White House and Mark Meadows and Stephen Mnuchin, it's a different situation. Now they have to relay that message over to Mitch McConnell, who in turn has to relay that message over to his counterparts in the Senate. And so you're just going way too far. Whereas if you bring in Mitch McConnell and you have Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and they're meeting in the room all together, Mitch McConnell kind of knows what he can do and what he can't do, and he can talk with the leaders in the Senate, and they can kind of figure out a game plan. But now we have an extra added step, so it's going to take a little bit longer for us to get to the point where it's brought to the floor of the Senate and they start voting on things. So it's going to take some time. That's all, and it's unfortunate, but that's what we're dealing with right now. We don't have two sides that are going to come together and try to work out something. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so Adam is saying here, we know Trump has no authority to release funds, but do you think he's pressuring Nancy Pelosi in the House to settle for less? This could be before the CBO's possible government shutdown. So I think it's the opposite. I think it's the opposite, Adam. When it comes down to the whole government shutdown, I think Nancy Pelosi's she's putting pressure on the White House and making them bring their numbers up, because it's a situation where the White House is going to hurt more if there's a government shutdown. And so that's just the reality. And so that's the last thing the White House wants. The last thing they want is a government shutdown. And yes, the president doesn't have the power to just start sending out checks. He does not have that power. He needs to get the approval from from Congress in order to send out more checks, because Congress, they have the purse, they have the money. And so he can't just do this on his own. And so yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens in September. I think it's going to be pretty exciting to see kind of how things are being played, or how things are played out, or how things get played out. But when it comes down to it, yes, I think Nancy Pelosi can put more pressure on the White House because that timetable, you do not want to go, because Nancy Pelosi controls the House. Okay, she controls the House, and when I say like she's the leader of the House, the Speaker of the House, but she actually controls the House. So if she doesn't, if there's something that she doesn't want to get through, it's not getting through. Whereas Mitch McConnell, he's lost a lot of control over the Senate, and so Nancy Pelosi can really step in and say, nope, we're not going to go forward with this, and ultimately that will hurt the president if we have a government shutdown. If they can't come to some type of agreement on next year's funding, then yeah, we will have a government shutdown, and we won't have stimulus package, stimulus checks, all that. It'd be a disaster, and this is all in October. Like, this would all play out. So September 30th is the last budget day, I guess you can say. They need to have a budget by then. And so if we don't, then we're going to go into October with nothing. And no stimulus package, government shutdown, people being furloughed, all that kind of stuff. The airline industry really suffering. And that's a month before the election. That is an absolute disaster for the White House. And so I think they're really going to start moving and say, hey, look, we need to do this. Worry about the money later. But this is a crisis. Not only are we dealing with COVID-19, but we're dealing with a situation where we made promises, and we're not going to be able to keep those promises, as well as we don't have funding for the next fiscal year when it comes to our government. So yeah, they're really in a bad situation right now when it comes down to it. Now, could this have been avoided? Absolutely. It could have been avoided if we had another stimulus package back in June. Then we wouldn't even be talking about this right now. We would still be, that would give the Republican senators that are really adamant against another stimulus package. You would have a lot of people that would say, yeah, you know what, we don't need it. I'm just saying, if there was a talk for another stimulus package after that, if we had one in June and they were talking about doing another one maybe in September, October, there would be a strong argument against it, right? Because it's like, okay, we did two. We're still, we can still wait and see, basically, is what they said before. And I think people would be in a much different situation as financially, or they'd be in a much different financial situation than they are now. I'm getting all tongue tied today. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm not able to speak like I normally do. Let's see. $1,200 stimulus checks for individuals. What happened, and why aren't they negotiating this? So that's Mark asking this question. It's still here. It's still here. I mean, $1,200. I don't think anyone has changed that number. The scary part is, yeah, they're not really. I think maybe it's almost expected now. I'm hoping that's the case, because I did hear a couple of interviews with Mark Meadows, and I did a video about this, where he did not mention stimulus checks in the package that they were trying to get together. But he was more or less talking about a smaller package that they want to get passed that just has the essential things that need to get done right now, like the enhanced unemployment and some of those things. But he did not mention stimulus checks, and that was in 2 interviews. So I'm thinking politicians at this point know that they can't present a bill without stimulus checks. Or I should say this: most politicians feel that way. We obviously have some senators that are creating a skinny bill without stimulus checks in there. But I think most politicians realize, on both sides, they realize, and the White House for sure, realize that, hey, this stimulus package needs to have stimulus checks in it. And so I don't think they'll be left out. The question is going to be, is it $1,200 per individual, $1,200 per dependent, or is it $1,200 per individual, $500 per dependent? So that's probably the biggest question at this point. Okay, and January saying that laugh out loud, Nancy has no negotiation leverage. All right, well, we'll see. I'm just telling you the way things are looking, and just you have to think of it like this, and all you have to do is go back a week and listen to any of Mark Meadows' interviews a week ago. And what was he saying? We're trying to get Nancy Pelosi back to the table. He went down on that Saturday vote that they had. He went down to Capitol Hill on a Saturday, went to Nancy Pelosi's office to try to talk to her, and of course she said she's there. They said that she was in a meeting or something like that. So the way that things are looking, it looks like the White House is the one that's really coming to her. She's not jumping out and going to them. So if someone's coming to you, then you have leverage. You have leverage because you're the person they want you more than you want. You want to get whatever done, whatever you need to get done. They're pursuing you. So if it's a situation like that, just the way that I see it, yeah, you have some leverage when it comes to that situation. And that's just my opinion, January, but that's the way that I see it. We'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks. We'll see how it plays out. But with all the stuff that's happening, I think it's going to be a real hard situation for the White House to just say, nope, 1.3 trillion, that's it. We're not going any higher than that. I think that's going to be hard for them to do because the people are really going to start voicing their opinion. And you can blame Nancy Pelosi. She's in a safe seat. Her district, she's in a safe seat. Okay, she is the Democratic nominee in her district running. I don't even know who she's running against, but I'm just saying she's not going to lose that seat. She might lose a speakership if they don't get a majority in the House, but she's not going to lose her job. Whereas the president has a possibility of losing his job. I mean, he's down in the polls. Like he's not, winning any of the polls when it comes down to it. And I know he wasn't winning the polls back in 2016, but you don't want to be an incumbent president and down in the polls. You just don't want to do that. You don't want to be that person. I guarantee you he would much rather be up in the polls higher than Biden. I guarantee you. And if he was, he would be touting those polls. Oh, look, I'm up in the polls. I'm up in all the polls. Right? He touts things when he if it's positive for him, he's going to tout it. Ratings, right? Always talks about ratings, and ratings, that's not scientific. I mean, but he always touts the ratings. Oh, my ratings are up or the ratings are down or whatever. That's like the first thing he goes to. Anytime he's talking about anything that has to do with news, oh, that news, they're not credible. Their ratings are down. Or, just a variety of different things. So when it comes down to it, I think the leverage is on Nancy Pelosi's side, and she realizes that. And so that's why she's drawing that red line at 2.2 trillion. Let's see. And then the argument also has to be, what do you want? Like, would you want someone pushing for more as far as money? Let's face it. We're in a deficit right now, and that's obvious. Do you want someone pushing for more services for you at this point, or do you want someone pushing for less, trying to do the cheaper alternative? That's the question. We did have a $2.2 trillion bill. That was the CARES Act. And we saw the results of the CARES Act. And we don't know the results of a $1.3 trillion bill, but we do know the results of a $2.2 trillion bill. And I would say that in May and June, the numbers, they looked better. And then they started to drop off again in July and in August. But the numbers did look good for a couple months. And so that was a direct result of the CARES Act. So when it comes down to it, we're arguing about numbers here, and that's basically what it comes down to. We're looking at the numbers. But where do you want to be? Do you want to be Do you want to root for the person who's rooting for more money for you, or do you want to root for the person who's rooting for less money for you? That I guess that's my question. Even when we talk about stimulus checks, if we're talking about stimulus checks and you happen to have dependents, and we're saying individuals get $1,200 and dependents get $1,200, are you pushing for that, or are you pushing for individuals get $1,200 and dependents get $500? Because that's what's on the table right now. You have one side that's pushing for the $1,200 across the board, and then you have the other side that's pushing for $1,200 for individuals and $500 per dependent. So where are you when it comes to that? If you have a business and you're looking at certain funding for businesses, where do you fall on that? If you need food assistance, where do you fall? So when it comes down to it, you know, I understand that, you know, the government now, they're saying, oh, we don't want to spend any more money. We don't want to. We're spending way too much money, and that's true. I agree. But in a crisis, do you go that extra mile? If you're able to do it, do you do it, and then work it out after the fact? It's just like this. And I don't do this anymore with my credit cards. Okay, let me. I'm very, very strict with credit cards now. I shouldn't say strict. I use my credit cards a lot differently than I did in the past. But I grew up on make sure you have a credit card for emergency purposes. Don't use it unless it's for an emergency. And so if there was a situation, let's say my car broke down and I needed to get it fixed and I didn't have the money in the bank and I had this credit card and I need to get to work, there's two things I can do. One of the things I can do is say, okay, well, you know what? I'll wait and save that money up. Or wait, save the money up, but then I'm going to need to get a rental car and pay for that rental car. So I can save the money up, but it's going to take me a while to save that money up. Or I can go ahead, use the credit card, and then pay the credit card off over time, and at least I have my car fixed. Now I can go to work, and I'm able to make money, continue to make money, not have to pay for a rental car, and then just pay off this debt. Now, I do not do that anymore. When it comes to credit cards, I will not use my credit card unless I have the money already in the bank. Okay, there's no that's just the way that I do. I don't carry any debt at all. And if I'm using a credit card, and this is a whole different topic, but I want to put this out there just because I don't want people to start using the whole emergency. That's why I'm using my credit card. But I always have money in the bank. So for that purpose. So if there's something that goes wrong with my car, I have money in the bank so I can take care of that. So I save money specifically for emergencies like this. Now, when it comes to credit cards, yes, I pay them off every month, and I only get credit cards that give me points because I want to get a little something out of it. The only problem with using credit cards that give you points, those credit cards have higher, you pay more back. So or pay more back, they're higher interest rates. So basically, if you pay the minimum, you're going to be paying more back in interest. So that's why you pay it off every month. Anyway, that's a whole different topic. But yeah, the way that I look at it right now, I think we're in a situation where, and we'll see, we'll see where things go. But I think that the White House, they're going to have to cave. I really do. And we'll see if I'm right. And this is pure speculation. But I think they're going to have to move up on their number. And we'll see. We'll see where it goes from there. I'm reading questions as I speak. So if you guys have questions at TEC, we'll be on for a little bit longer. And also hit that like button. Let's get up to 1,000 likes. Let's do this, guys. We have, 823 likes. So if you are here and you have not hit the like button, go ahead and hit it. Don't hit it again if you've already hit it, because then it'll just unlike. Unless you're going to unlike, I guess. Let's see. And Cassandra, thank you for stopping by, Cassandra. Do you think Congress is going to pass another bill in September? Yeah, I do. We're just going to do blue light. I didn't see anybody put colors up there, so we'll go with blue. Yeah, I do. And this is me. This is just my speculation. I think that they're gonna. There's too much going on in September for them not to get something done, and eyes are on them even more now since we've waited this long. Eyes are on them even more. So we know something's going to have to be done for the as far as the budget. Okay, they don't want to do a shutdown or go on a shutdown. So something will have to be addressed when it comes to that. Hopefully, they can just tie everything together and wrap it up in this nice little bow and present it that way. But we'll see. Let's see. So once well Noel is asking, why is unemployment different to each wait. So why is it different to each state? Here in Florida, it's $275 a week. Now I'm guessing that you're talking about the state unemployment rate. You're not talking about the overall because it should be $300 to everyone that applies for it. If you're talking about the enhanced, the money that's coming from the federal government, but the states, yeah, the states run their unemployment agencies differently, and our unemployment offices differently, and it depends too. Like in California, the cost of living and everything is more than a lot of other states. So that means that you know, people in general make more. They make a higher wage, but they have their rent is higher. So you can't compare California to another state like Kentucky or some of the other states where the the average income is lower. And so that's how they kind of have to gauge how much money you're going to be getting back. I think in California it's $450 per week is what you max out. Whereas other, like I guess Florida is $275 a week. I don't know if that's the max, but that's what once Wool Noel put on there. So yeah, it just depends. The state's going to have they calculate their numbers, and I think it was it was Lindsey Graham that was saying there was a percentage, and that's how they go about determining how much money the state is going to dole out to people who are getting unemployment. And then also understand, state unemployment is money that you pay into. Like when you're working, you're paying part of your paycheck is going into like this insurance, this unemployment insurance fund. So if you were to be unemployed, then you can apply, and then you're getting some of that money back. All right. All right, guys. If you have any questions, any last questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. And we will be back on tomorrow. So we'll do another live stream tomorrow. And the plan is to do it at 1 o'clock again, 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And I'm hoping this time is okay. I might mess with the time just a little bit, maybe move it up just a little, but I don't want to do it too late on if I can. If I can do it earlier, I'd prefer to do it a little bit earlier. Alyssa's saying that she gets $176. Wow. Yeah, it's going to differ in each state. All right. Any other questions, guys? Go ahead and put it in the chat. All right. And thank you guys all for being here, supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. And if you're watching this and it's not live, please also hit that like button because that really helps. It really does help out, and it will push this out to more people. And like I said, I like doing live streams. I really do. The fact that I can just sit in front of the camera, talk with you guys, tell you guys the latest news. That's the big thing. Like when and this has happened to me. It happens to me all the time. I'm sure I'm not the only person, only YouTuber this happens to, but we'll find out some information. We get all excited. We get in front of the camera. We shoot the video, and then a couple of hours later, that changes, and it's like, oh, and now we have to shoot it again, and then put it out. So the good thing about live streams, if it happens, I can sit down right now, get all my stuff together, and just start talking. So that's the good thing. And if things change, I can add that to the discussion. Miss Happy Apple said she won't be able to make it tomorrow. All right, Miss Happy Apple. Thank you for all your help, though. Really appreciate it. Let's see. South Dakota isn't budging. So that's interesting with South Dakota. So they're declining the extra funding. And I mean, is that because their unemployment rate is really low and so they don't really have any need for it? Like I don't understand why they would decline. It's kind of a crazy thing. You're just turning down money that could help out the people in your state. Michael saying, I really enjoy your presentation. Thank you for the info and professionalism. Thank you very much, Michael. I really appreciate that. Let's see. Let's see. First time here. I enjoyed it. Thank you, David. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate that. All right, guys. I'm going to have to get out of here. And I'm going to work on an outro. I couldn't even think of that. Yeah, I'm going to work on an outro. That's what I'm going to do for the next. I guess I can do the intro as an outro just for this show and close it off before. One thing I hate when I end the show, I always have to look over to my right. Yeah, to my right. So you're left. But I hate doing that because it just looks weird. So I think it is better to do kind of the intro as an outro for right now and then switch it up later. All right, guys. Thank you guys all for stopping by. We'll be back on tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I will have a video tomorrow as well. So we're going to put a regular video out, and then we'll do the live stream. All right, guys. Talk to you later.